Hi folks. So I've been showing off some of the primary tourist attractions of St. Petersburg. I thought I would show off a somewhat less touristy area. This is another of the many canals that that flow through the city. This is one of the smaller canals. Here goes a boat right now. This canal is much smaller, and so it doesn't have as many boats going on it, but you do see them go by every few minutes, like this one. This is obviously a tourist boat. The name on the back of the boat, that actually says Charlie. I guess that's supposed to be Charlie. So yeah, this is the Canal Griboyedova. And yeah, as you can see, there's random stuff floating in it. I don't know if you can really tell, but allegedly all the water in these canals is really polluted. I didn't mention when I made the video of the Neva. All these rivers are allegedly terribly polluted. Everyone tells me that they're not safe to swim in, and my own research sort of backs up that idea as well. Interestingly enough, the Neva, the big river that I talked about before, is actually used for most of the city's public drinking water. And apparently it's not treated to the spec that an American would expect. It's treated in some way. They put some kind of chemicals into it, but they don't chlorinate it. They don't put chlorine in the water here. They put some other less potent chemicals, and they also irradiate it with ultraviolet light, which is supposed to kill most of the microorganisms. I don't know how effective it is, but anyhow. It raises kind of an interesting question in my mind, that sort of question of how much should the government do for its people, because you know, there's this sort of idea that in the United States especially, there's kind of this idea that people should look after themselves and the government should have minimal involvement and interaction in their lives, and people shouldn't expect the government to do things for them. They should they should take care of their own affairs. But I wonder what those people would do, or what they would say if suddenly the local municipal government stopped offering clean drinking water. And they might say, well, that's different. Clean water is one of the most fundamental, most essential things to life, so that's not quite the same thing. But it's kind of interesting. Once again, Russia is supposed to be a very socialist country, and you'd expect some degree of the government taking care of its people, and there is some of that. I mean, there is socialized healthcare here, which doesn't really exist in the United States, although people here say that the socialized healthcare system here is kind of a joke. I don't know, I haven't experienced it firsthand, and I hope not to. Here's a McDonald's advertisement, which is obviously in Russian, but you can see the yellow M clearly gives it away as McDonald's. Anyway, this is actually the third time that I'm filming this video. The second time that I tried to film the video, the battery in my camcorder died, so I had to recharge. But the first time, something very interesting happened. While I was standing here on this street corner, talking into my camera, an older gentleman came by and stopped and started speaking to me. And I guess he, obviously, me speaking English with a camera in my hand, he kind of assumed that I was a tourist, and kind of rightly so. And so he told me a little bit about this building here. Let me first focus on that sign there. Actually, let me tell you a little bit about the sign. The Russian text at the top is transliterated into English below. It says Naberezhnaya Canal Griboyedova. Naberezhnaya is the Russian word for a road that runs along a river or canal. It's usually translated into English as embankment. Kanala, of course, is canal, and then Griboyedova is the name of the canal. The numbers below that are just the 104 is the building number, and then it shows you that if you walk to the left from here, you hit 102, and then if you go to the right from here, you hit 106. Street signs here in Petersburg are kind of weird, because very frequently they don't actually indicate well, they indicate the usual information that you'd get from a street sign, but they don't actually have they often don't have the signs on street corners. They often have them in the middle of blocks. Like if you look down there, You can see there's another one of the signs there, and it's in the middle of the block. That's for building 102. So it's kind of weird. This particular corner happens to have this sign here, but a lot of corners don't have any signs, so it's sometimes hard to tell what building number you're at. But anyway, this older gentleman came and started talking to me, and he talked in Russian, and I said, I told him in Russian, "Я извини, я не русский," which is basically, I think it's kind of a broken Russian way of saying, "I'm sorry, I don't speak Russian." And he said, "Okay, I'll talk to you in English." And he told me that this is the building. He asked me if I knew who Fyodor Dostoevsky was, and I said, well, yeah, sure, Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky, one of the most famous Russian writers, who of course lived here in St. Petersburg and wrote extensively about Petersburg. And so the man told me this building was actually the building in which Raskolnikov from Crime and Punishment committed his famous murder. If you've read Crime and Punishment, you know, of course, that the book contains a murder. And allegedly it happened in this building. And the guy's English was kind of broken, so I'm not sure I understood him perfectly. At first, I thought that he was saying there was an actual murder in this building in Dostoevsky's time that inspired the murder in the book. But I did a little bit of looking it up online, and apparently, I don't think there was any actual murder here. I think it was just that Dostoevsky happened to single out this building as the murder site. I guess back then, it's kind of weird. It was, I guess in Dostoevsky's time, it was not uncommon to actually specify an address for the, for things like that. So allegedly in early versions of Crime and Punishment, he literally wrote this very address, 104, on this canal. And actually, at that point in time, it wasn't called the Griboyedova, it was actually called the Ekaterinsky Canal. And Dostoevsky does reference the Ekaterinsky Canal in Crime and Punishment. But in my copy, at least, in my copy of the book, it doesn't have a building number. So I guess that was later, once the book became very famous, that was actually deleted out of the book. But yeah, Dostoevsky chose this building as the site, so allegedly, hold on, let me, where is it? Oh, right there. I think allegedly that that gate right there is supposed to be the gate where Raskolnikov had his confrontation with the people as he was coming out after the murder. If you've read the book, you probably remember that scene, or maybe you don't. But yeah, so that was something interesting, and it was totally coincidental. I just happened to start filming on this street corner, and I didn't even really, I had no idea that this building had that kind of significance. It wasn't until the guy stopped and told me about it. And he was a very nice gentlemanly older gentleman, kind of, I guess kind of a scholar. And like I said, his English wasn't that great, but it was at least workable. Kind of interesting, the older generations here in Russia versus the younger generations, the divide between them is significant. Older people, of course, grew up in Soviet times, and so they still have that sort of, they have a little bit of that communal mentality where they'll just go up to random strangers and say, hey, did you know that this did you know that this building inspired the murder in, or, you know, was the site of the murder in Crime and Punishment, stuff like that. Younger kids, especially the under 20 crowd here in Russia, they're a little bit more Americanized. They're a little bit closer to the, you know, get out of my way, man, don't bother me kind of mentality. I'm right on the line myself. I'm 29 years old right now, and that puts me right about on the dividing line there. People who are a few years younger than me were born at or around or after Perestroika, and people who are my age were like around 10 years old when Perestroika happened, and so they kind of still remember a little bit of the old Soviet times, but they were still, you know, young kids when it happened. So people of my specific age group are sort of half and half. They're kind of divided between the two. But if you talk to an older person here, they still have very much this classical sort of old-fashioned love of literature and history and things like that. I'm trying not to pan my camera around too much because I worry that people here might be self-conscious about being filmed. But oh well, this is a tourist city. I mean, this particular street corner is not a tourist area. I don't think they have many people here filming. Over there, That sign in Russian, it says "Produkta," which literally translates as products, and the sign below it says 24 chasa, and even if you don't know what chasa is, you can probably guess that that means it's open 24 hours. St. Petersburg is kind of a 24-hour city. A lot of places around here open 24 hours a day. That's one of the things I really like about it. I really very much enjoy the American-style convenience of being able to go out at 2 a.m. and get the Russian equivalent of a Slurpee from the corner Produkta store. Of course, the Russian equivalent of a Slurpee is a bottle of vodka, but you can get soft drinks and things like that there as well. This yellow sign here advertises a store that's open from 9 a.m. till 11 p.m. Most of the times here given in 24-hour European-style time. The text at the bottom says Universum, which it basically is a word meaning like a universal store. So it's kind of like a grocery store, except it implies basically Produkta, like that red sign over there, is sort of the bottom of the scale, and it sort of implies just like a corner kind of hole in the wall where they might have a few drinks and snacks and things like that, but nothing too fancy. Universum is a little bit more involved. Those places typically have things like toilet paper and soap and shampoo and stuff like that. You might find some household goods there. There's also gastronom, which is again pretty much the same idea, but basically implies slightly higher quality of food. I don't know if you can see these white things flying around. They're very common here this time of year. They're actually poplar seed fluffs. Basically, there's a vast forest of poplar trees not far outside the city of St. Petersburg, and they release this giant cloud of seed tufts in the summer, and the whole city is just lambasted with them. You walk around the city and there's all these white tufts falling around you. At first I thought they might be asbestos or something like that, but no, they're an annual thing here around this time of year, and it goes on for quite a while because I've been here for over a month and they've just been raining down on the city non-stop. It's kind of crazy. So anyway, okay, I think that's enough for now. So this is another little slice of life from St. Petersburg. You've got the canal, you've got the building where the old pawnbroker was killed in a fictional alternate universe, and you have some crucial information about grocery stores, about neighborhood convenience stores. If you're ever in the neighborhood and want to know how to say convenience store, you just say Produkta. Yeah, I guess that's useful. Alright folks, thanks for watching. I will talk to you folks later. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye-bye for now.